This is the luxury world. Get inspired with us today and tomorrow. When it comes to making decisions for the country, the president has the authority to mold things as he sees fit. He has the authority to issue executive orders as he deems appropriate, which entitles him to employ force that is both reasonable and legal. Like most politicians, presidents don't have the luxury of much leisure time because their professions are so difficult and demanding. It's a high-level position with benefits and drawbacks that go hand in hand. Being well-known and wielding such influence puts a great deal of pressure and responsibility on one's shoulders. Although that is typically discouraged, now we are still powerless to stop ourselves. We always have a reason to take a peek and pry at the lives of world leaders even after their presidential terms. Nonetheless, take a little peek at what's available. So with that being said, join us here in today's video brought to you by the Luxury World. We are going to explore the world and we will learn what other world leaders are sporting on their wrists in terms of the watches that they are taking care of or their timepieces as a fashion icon. If you still have not subscribed to our channel yet, make sure to do it now so you can stay updated on our future videos. There are numerous nations with substantial worldwide influence. Other countries are anticipated to become world powers in the following decades as well as those viewed as regional powers. However, no nation has a more important role in international affairs than the United States. America has unrivaled sway in the world. What makes America the most powerful nation in the world? And why is it so strong as a nation? Simple. The secret of America's power is its federal system and democratic government. The US economy has expanded significantly as a result, and it has also given people and businesses the freedom to develop and expand. The federal system's ability to allow different states to adapt to their unique beliefs and circumstances gives the country's economy and political system buffer time. United States presidents. We will be taking a look at the United States of America, which is the country where almost every invention in human history is made. Their current president is none other than Joe Biden. He seems to be a modest watch enthusiast. Worth $10,000, there is his obligatory Rolex, which is the date just 41 with reference 126300. This watch comes with a smooth bezel and a punchy dial in blue that symbolizes democracy. Because of its high value, Biden would rather take it out of the box while rocking a $5,000 Speedmaster Moonwatch and an expensive mid-sized Seamaster watch from Omega. Both watches cost $3,000. One of the weird facts about Biden as the president, he was the first one to own an Omega Speedmaster Moonwatch. The first American black president, Barack Obama timepiece collection is a kind of goal. The leader wearing expensive watches that cost more than an automobile doesn't have the best appeal while he was president. Obama has no choice but to switch up a two-tone Tag Heuer 1500 professional watch with a $400 George Gray 6500 given to him by a Secret Service detail. Even after his turn to be a US president, he could manage to loosen up a bit, but he still insisted on choosing a Rolex that nobody wants. It's the $10,000 Rolex Cellini 50509. Next up, we have Donald Trump, who is a Wall Street figure from the 1980s era even before he became a US president. He has an equivalent watch collection that costs $15,000. He has the Patek Philippe Golden Ellipse 3738. Trump also has a Rolex Day-Date 36 reference 180383 that amounts to $20,000. Apart from the top luxury watch brands in the world, he also owns a Vacheron Constantin historic 1968 watch that is worth $1,000. European leaders. Let us mislead the other half of the nation by extending their view to the remainder of the continent. We will be exploring another different region in the world, and we will explore first the peninsula of peninsulas, Europe. As a continent, Europe is still divided into the European Union. Italy seeks a young and dynamic leader to lead the nation toward a more promising future, according to Sergio Mattarella, the 81-year-old Italian president. Despite his age, the nation's leadership has been given to him by the Italians. Mattarella has a young preference who is active. He has chosen an equally stylish watch with Patek Philippe Golden Ellipse 3738, which is worth $15,000. The French enjoy one thing in particular, the French, and are therefore entirely in character for Emmanuel Macron, who is the current president of France. Macron awarded himself with a few watch collections coming from their own country. The $400 Merci LMM-01 field watch and the $1,000 March Lab MM69. Just like every other French export no one's ever heard of, even Macron isn't 100% choosing a $500 Longines Dolce Vita watch to make sure he does not have to turn up on time to anything. Then, to combat stereotypes of other nations, here are a few that Carl Gustaf exhibits different characteristics. The 16th Swedish king thought of the place with a slick, minimalist design liberated from materialism. Sweden is truly a beacon of sensibility, and they perfected the craft of purity, so it makes sense. Therefore, the reason why King Carl can be seen wearing a $3,000 Hublot watch. Volodymyr Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, has been spotted wearing a Tag Heuer Carrera for $3,000 in skeletal form. He probably chooses the watch primarily due to two factors. First, it features a fantastic design and a stylish appearance, and the second one is the details for the cost. United Kingdom Prime Ministers. There's not been a UK Prime Minister in recent history with a watch worth mentioning, since the current Prime Minister Rishi Sunak wears nothing, while Liz Truss before wore a $200 Furler fashion watch. On the other hand, Boris Johnson had a 50 Pulsar watch, probably from Argos. David Cameron also wore nothing, so the only watch that was even worth the mention was from former UK Prime Minister Theresa May, who wore a small $2,000 Omega Constellation watch. Extreme guilt towards their nation has diminished any likelihood of a British Prime Minister donning a decent watch to practically nothing. The possibility of mobilization of street protests is high if these leaders are being observed in public with lavish lives, even wearing a high-end watch. It's an unwritten law that the consumption of luxury by the UK heads must continue behind the public eye. Since they are still considered as paid covertly because of public funds, if nobody sees them doing such in public, it appears to be no harm and no foul after seeing it. African leaders. We will be listing a few leaders of various African nations and their watches to see if you can guess what watch each of them owns. But we are sure that you will not be known for this. There is King Mswati III of Eswatini, who owns a couple of Jacob & Co. watches, including the $1 million brilliant skeleton tourbillon ruby. He also got a $250,000 Rolex GMT Master 2 SARU watch, fancied out with diamonds, rubies, and sapphires. On the other hand, the former president of Kenya, Uhuru Kenyatta, got a $30,000 Rolex Submariner Hulk. He also got a $60,000 Patek Philippe Aquanaut 5167A and an Olunga & Zuna Datograph Perpetual Tourbillon watch that costs $3,000. Going further, we have Felix Tshisekedi, the president of the Democratic Republic of Congo, who has a $50,000 Rolex Sky Dweller 326935 and a $40,000 Rolex Day-Date 228238. The list continues as we have the president of Gabon, Ali Bongo Ondimba. He has a platinum Rolex Daytona 116506 for a surprising $120,000. The flashiest African royal of all is none other than Mohammed VI of Morocco. The Philippe Nautilus 5980 shielded for $1 million. Asian leaders. Let us now get into the more good stuff as we came from the West. Now, we are going to the Far East. Concerning those with titles such as Supreme Leader, as you are aware, their watch collections will be valuable and adequate to support a small army. But that doesn't seem to be the case with North Korea's Kim Jong-un. He has only been spotted with a $1,000 Movado Museum and an IWC Portofino IW356504 worth $10,000. It's the same with the Republic of China's President Xi Jinping, keeping himself timely with little more than a $7,000 Omega Constellation Globe Master. If what you're searching for are ridiculous watches with extreme prices, don't worry, because several of the smaller Asian countries have them. Hassan al-Bolkiah, the Sultan of Brunei, has everything covered. Bolkiah spends with both Richard Milles numbers 5601 and 5602 worth almost $5 million in sum. He also likes a Patek Philippe Calendar 5740 that costs $250,000. On the other hand, you can see the Prime Minister of Cambodia. Hun Sen seemed to be prospering, as well as his Patek Philippe Skymin Tourbillon 6002 is featured in the line. He also has a Richelieu 5703 and the Grandmaster chime by Patek Philippe 5175R, which are valued at a total of a small nation's GDP. That's approaching a wristwatch worth $1 million, right? These two Patek Philippe watches are the company's most intricate wristwatches, with the 5175R being one of the only 7 models that exist worldwide. This surely made you think about how a world leader was able to acquire those watches with high value. But since they have been in the position for many years, there's no doubt. Moving forward, the president of the Philippines, Ferdinand Marcos Jr., has a Patek Philippe chronograph 5980R that seems almost affordable at this point for $150,000, bringing up the rear. Going back to the basics is the best watch to show that is down to earth, which is India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi. He is spotted wearing an Apple Watch frequently. Vladimir Putin is a familiar figure that occasionally lavishes on having self-indulged in his $1.4 billion and 17,000 square meters of residence located on the Black Sea. Hence, his game of watch collections is just as extravagant, with at least $100,000 F. Bjorn chronometer in blue. He also owns a $50,000 Patek Philippe Perpetual Calendar 5039J and an Alunga & Zuna 1815 up and down worth about $30,000. What are your thoughts about the world leaders' watches we have featured in this video? Do you also have a world leader to suggest who also owns insane watches? We would like to see your answers and opinions in the comment section. If you liked this video, we will be glad if you let us know that too. Don't forget to follow us and give us a thumbs up. Once again, this is The Luxury World, and we look forward to seeing you again in our next videos.